Hey guys, before I get into the video, I want to talk about something on a serious note. Oftentimes in videos, I see that people are very aggressive in the comment section, especially when it comes to the Pocophone for some reason. Just the viewership it's attracting seems to be a little bit too defensive, too eager to insult others, insult the content creators. I've noticed this across almost every video I've seen. Any video that features the Pocophone, there's a lot of comments that are just not nice. And honestly, they're not even logical a lot of the times. So what I want to do is I'm going to lay down some ground rules here. If you guys don't like the video, if you guys are not happy with something I said, and you want to tell me, please do so in a calm, positive manner. You don't have to be very negative to say something that I did wrong. It could be very easily constructive, and I could use that to improve myself in the next video. I don't hate the Pocophone, first off. I'm nothing against it, and I'm going to say this in every video that this is featured, but if I see any kind of negative comments, any kind of people attacking other people's replies, I'm going to get rid of those comments. I'm going to delete them. This is not the space to do that. I want to have good conversations. I want to have discussions with people that are logical and sensical. Now, some things I might say you guys may not agree with, and I'd be glad to hear your point of view on it and have a discussion about it. But if you guys are not mature enough to handle that, I'm not going to give you the platform on my videos. At least you can go and do that on someone else's videos or make your own video to argue that logic. But that being said, I'm going to move on and let's get into the video. So this is the Pocophone F1. I've been using it for about 48 hours. And these are my initial impressions on it. So if you guys saw the unboxing video, I took it out, everything went well, and immediately after I finished off that video, filming that video, and I actually got it in my hands and started using it for real, the one thing I noticed was how big this phone actually is. For some reason, I did not expect this phone to be that large. I have no idea why, because honestly, when I look at the size, the dimensions of the screen and stuff, the size makes perfect sense, but for some reason, it was just there in my mind, so I just wanted to kind of put that out there. So it's nothing against the phone or anything. It's just, for some reason, I don't know why, I thought the phone would be just a little bit smaller or more compact. And moving on, I did not mention this, but in the video, this polycarbonate plastic is amazing. I mean, it's very hard to say if it's plastic or metal, even when you have it in the hand. I've used a lot of plastic phones. There's just this way about plastic, but the way that this color is put on, the finish or the coating on top of the plastic, really well done. And I think that these, chamfered edges with a little bit of chrome really helped sell the more, I'd say, metal kind of look and feel to the phone. Definitely not easy to say if this phone is metal or plastic. Everyone I asked is confused. They took far too long to answer a very simple question. And honestly, that's fine, because this is actually really good for the phone. It means that even though it is made of polycarbonate plastic, which is a little bit cheaper than using aluminum, it is a very good finish, and they did not cheap out on at least giving it their best effort. Moving on, let's talk about the price point of this phone, because I know that's what everybody really cares about. I bought this phone for $257. Now, when you're talking about a phone for $257, there's not a lot you want to argue about, because, I mean, a lot of the things you can argue about go out the window because of the price. You can justify it because of the price. However, there are some things, that I don't like with this pricing strategy. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm all for competition, but what Poco is doing is called predatory pricing, and they are making money off of you guys on the back end. So anybody who buys this phone, they're not making money directly off the sale of the phone. I mean, they might be breaking even, but not really making money. How they're actually going to make money is they're going to sell all of your info, so like tracking your usage, all that. They're going to insert ads in the UI. They're going to try to sell you their services, etc., etc. So it's something that I'm going to talk about in another video in depth. Moving on from that, when I first unboxed the phone, started using it, it was on MIUI 9. I updated to MIUI 10. A lot of, MIUI 9 wasn't something I liked a lot. I used the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. After that experience, I wasn't a big fan of MIUI. To be very frank, even with MIUI 10, it's not something I like a lot, but definitely a lot better than it was before. However, the one interesting thing I did know that it is still on Android 8.1. I believe the betas are just rolling out now for Android 9 Pie. It's not the full software yet, but betas are rolling out. That is a positive thing. So I guess within a month or two, we should be seeing at least a full release for Android 9.0 on this phone as well. So also talking about my time with the setup, if you guys saw, the fingerprint scanner, when I set it up, was extremely fast. And you know what? I think this is the fastest fingerprint scanner I have used ever, honestly, because it is so instant. So, okay, phone is turned off. I'm literally just going to tap the scanner like this and it's going to unlock, okay? I'm going to move my fingers, my other fingers to the bottom so you guys know that I'm not using the power button or anything. So ready, set, go. Oh, crap. I have to actually look at the sensor. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to tap it. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see. All right, 1, 2, 3. There you go. Literally unlocked, okay? So lock, down, tap, unlock. So it is instant. Like just a little tap on the fingerprint scanner, it reads it and unlocks it. And that's just blazing fast. I mean, I think that's ridiculous. One of the fastest sensors I've seen, iOS, Android, whatever you want. Definitely something I haven't even, it's just astonishing. I'm speechless right now. So moving on from that, let's talk about this display. So this is a 6.18 inch LCD, an IPS LCD panel. It's average. I mean, it's exactly where I expected it to be at this price point. There's nothing to brag about it. There's nothing that bad either. Definitely, you know, not the best display you can buy, but obviously the best displays cost a lot of money. Not the worst by any shot either. For where this phone sits at in the price point, I think the display is probably really the best option we could have gotten. The one thing I'm not a fan of, though, is notches. That's always been something I'm just not a fan of. But the thing that I don't like beyond the notches is that even though they did give you notches, there's a decent amount of space up here that they could have taken all the way up to the edges for the bezel. Now, I mean, I think it would have made it a lot more expensive to do, but if you were going to go the notch route, I think that would have been the right way to go. Every other phone I've used with a notch, what they do is they do take the edge of the screen, the actual display all the way up to the edge of the glass. And this one, there is just about a little bit of space there, kind of similar to what you'd see on... Nah, it's not similar to anything else you'd see. It's just, it's definitely not exactly what you expect when you expect a notch. And another thing I did notice, by the way, guys, is that since the bottom here is rounded off, when you're watching videos in full screen, what happens is up at the top, you have kind of a more very lightly, curved edge, whereas at the bottom, it's quite large. So it's not anything, it's not a big deal. It's just something I noticed. So videos do look kind of weird from one side to the other. Moving on, let's talk about the speakers. So the speakers are average. And in fact, I will tell you guys something that you will probably roast me for, but I did not know these were stereo speakers. So I was watching Austin's video today, Austin Evans, his video on the Pocophone versus the Nokia, and he accidentally said that this has a single speaker. And I did not know he was wrong until I looked at the comments, and there were hundreds of Poco fanboys literally ready to kill Austin because he made that mistake. Now, let me be real with you guys. I'm coming from multiple flagships. So, Pixel 3, iPhone XS Max, Pixel 2, Samsung Galaxy S9. So, these are just some of the phones I've used in the past that have dual speakers. And this sounds nothing like a dual speaker. It sounds more like a single speaker setup. And I'm fairly certain that's because the earpiece up top is very faint. Now, I'm sure if I put up some sort of audio and then pressed it to my ear, put it close to my ear, yeah, that it is making noise. But when I was listening to it in natural circumstances, I did not notice there to be a dual speaker setup. So that's just something interesting that I kind of realized when I saw that video, because I can completely understand why he made that mistake, because I come from a certain kind of similar situation to him, where I've been using these flagship phones with dual speakers that are front firing or have, much louder than this. So it doesn't, the kind of expectation we've made for dual speakers wasn't met. So that's what I'm trying to say. So it is decently loud, but the one thing I will tell you guys is when you take it up to max volume on certain audio types, it does start to distort just a little bit, so you might want to keep it at around 80% volume for best effect. And speakers, again, nothing to brag about, I'll be honest with you guys. That's not where this phone shines, for sure. So moving on, let's talk about the battery. The battery is one of the best I've used on Android phones in a while. It's got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and even through most usages, it doesn't really drain the battery at all that much. It's very consistent and goes on a linear graph. Now, definitely, it's not the best battery life, but I think it's going to be very easy to get 1.5 to 2 days out of this phone on moderate usage. And even with heavy usage, there's no way that you're not going to make it one full day. So the battery is definitely a thumbs up for me, no issues on that. And if you are a heavy user, this is probably a good choice for you, and you're trying to stay within the lower flagship segment there. And let's move on to the thing that really made me buy this phone, that is the camera. So I saw MKBHD's blind camera test video, and after that is when I really decided that this is a phone I have to give a chance, because I just want to see what it's all about. And what I found was, as many Poco fanboys like to point out, this does use the same primary lens as the Google Pixel 3. The Sony IMX363, it's a 12 megapixel shooter. However, what a lot of people don't understand is that it's not the same exact camera setup. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into designing a complete camera system. The lens is one part of it. The way the lens is tuned, the aperture of it, how much exposure you can get into it. There's a lot of moving variables when it comes to a smartphone camera. The lens is one part of that puzzle. So yes, while the Google Pixel 3 and the Pocophone do share that primary lens, it does not mean that they're going to get the exact same photo quality. Now, I know that you're going to say install Google Cam, it's going to improve your quality. I will at a certain point, but at first I want to experience the phone as is out of the box, something that a normal person would do, not anything like a tech head would, because most people will buy this and use the stock camera app. They will not go to the trouble of installing the Google Camera app, which will definitely improve performance, no doubt in my mind. So just speaking about that stock camera experience, it's okay. The thing I did find was that the camera is a little bit fuzzy when it comes to details, especially on the front camera. When I tried to take a selfie in medium lighting, it wasn't too dark, it wasn't too bright either. The one thing I did notice was that a lot of detail off of my face was just missing. It was completely smoothed out. And when it came to video right now is locked in at 30 FPS. You don't get a 24, you don't get a 60 FPS option. And that's interesting because the Snapdragon 845 is capable of doing 60 frames per second video recording. And according to Poco, there will be an update that will unlock this feature for users, but we're unclear when we're going to get it, because that news hit about 2 months ago that you'll get 60 FPS filming unlocked, and still no update. So maybe I'm thinking it's probably going to come out with the Android 9 update. Let's see. If it does, I'll give you guys an update on that. But overall, camera is average, and that is completely fine. Let me tell you why. Because this phone is priced at a level where you can't expect the best of everything. What you want here, what you want at this price point, and what you're going to get at this price point is a phone that is well-rounded and can do almost everything you need to very well. And as we're talking about comparing it to flagships, how can we not talk about performance? So this does have 6 gigs of RAM. You can spec it up to 8 GB. It has the Snapdragon 845 processor, which almost every single Android flagship phone currently has. And this phone also has liquid cooling, so there is a heat pipe in this phone with a little bit of liquid in it, and it's going to keep the phone cool when it gets hot. So much going on in here with performance, but to be very honest with you guys, blunt, it doesn't perform as well as it can. And I'll tell you why, and that's because of MIUI. MIUI is not optimized to take advantage of this stuff. When we look at phones like OnePlus, their main goal is performance. And performance is definitely a big part hardware, but it is also a huge part in software as well. Your software has to be optimized. It has to be very well thought out. There needs to be a light skin of Android on it, nothing too heavy. And everything has to be optimized for performance. With Poco, with Xiaomi in general, I think MIUI is just a little bit too overbearing. It's not letting performance optimize itself to the level it can be in sake of giving you features that you might want, but most people probably don't need. They'd probably take the performance over that. And I feel like I've been defending myself a lot in this video. I shouldn't be, but I am. But I think that people saying that just put a new ROM on it, flash a ROM, put on a different launcher, blah, 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 you're missing the essence of it. I review phones as they come from factory. I don't want to, I try not to modify them in any way. I try not to mess with the software in any way. How it comes out of the box is how I like to use them. So that's why if you bring up the argument of flashing another ROM, yes, that makes sense, but think about it from the average consumer's point of view. An average consumer is not like most tech people. It's not like people who make this video, me, who watch this video, you, because I'm telling you guys, an average consumer is not going to spend 15, 20 minutes of his time watching a video on the initial impressions of the Pocophone. They're just not. They don't care about that. And that's okay, but that also means that their mentality towards how they use their phones is very different from us. They're not going to worry about, if they buy this phone, I'm going to guarantee you, they probably don't even know what processor they have, what kind of internals it has, blah, blah, blah. That's just something tech people like to use a lot. That's something that phone companies use as marketing buzzwords. But in reality, I guarantee you, go and ask your mom and dad right now what processor is in their phone. Leave that. Try to ask them what model phone they're using, the exact specific model. I bet you they won't be able to tell you that either, unless your parents enjoy tech as well. I mean, but that's probably going to be a very small percentage. But that's what I'm saying. The average consumer here is not going to bother with things like Google camera porting or flashing a new ROM, changing the launcher. That's something that the company has to install. So I'm sorry that went off into a little bit of a different tangent there, but let's talk about the Pocophone and round things up with what I feel. So I think that this phone is incredibly average at almost everything, which is a good thing because this phone is exactly that. It's supposed to be the all-rounder that can do everything and give you the best possible experience for the lowest possible price. And that's it. That's my impression with the first 48 hours I've had this phone. Would I personally give up a flagship phone for this? No, I would take the flagship every time. And that's not just because I'm saying this because I can afford them, but even if somebody asked me, hey, should I buy this now or save up a little bit and buy a flagship, I would recommend saving up a little bit for a few people, not everybody. For a lot of people, this will do the job. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions about the Pocophone, my experience, let me know in the comments below. And just a reminder, any rude, just stupid comments that don't make any sense in the context and don't try to create a conversation or discussion, they're going to get deleted. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.